I imagine there's a big market here for frozen yogurt because that's
Mm-hmm.
much healthier than ice cream.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm sure that there's a big market for. And then see the beauty industry then feeds off of the health industry because people have these unhealthy habits. They eat bad food. They feel bad. They need to feel better. In comes the beauty industries. Come for the pedicure. Come to have your nails done. Come to have your hair. Do you know to get streaks in? There's things I have learned recently.
Mm-hmm.
To get streaks of color in your hair. You know how much women are paying for that right now? Up to 150 pounds. It's not 150 euros. It's 100 and
Uh, per, let's say, one procedure, or let's
yep.
say in.
Yes, one visit. 150 pounds just to get little streaks of color in their hair. Right? It's wow. What an industry. Right.
Good business.
Right now. Yep. A a society of extremes. So people here are either really healthy or really unhealthy, and it's the bubble. I think there's a big. See, I'm exploring here again markets for things, and I think there might actually be a market for the promotion of self and personal development
Mm-hmm.
specifically here, but I still don't know yet because people are relatively happy being themselves even when they're not happy, and
Mm-hmm.
changes are extremely difficult, and the personal development market works best in a business environment because business is motivated to go forward because profit and more money and new
Yeah.
markets and travel and excitement and risk and danger and adventure and get up and go and do things and meet people and all the extras and additional bonuses of that type of world. That's where it all works really well. But outside of the business world, getting anybody to change anything is close to impossible because people love their fried Mars bars so much that they don't want to. They don't want to know. They don't want to try anything else. So yeah, one of the crazy things about life is we take things that are good and we add bad things to them. So we take the fish, which is essentially good, and then we cook it in a way which is actually not
Mm-hmm.
very healthy. Yeah, or we take potatoes, which uh, they're not the healthiest food, but they're not completely unhealthy either, and
Mm-hmm.
better than nothing. But potatoes really shouldn't be a part of any healthy diet, and they were only
Mm-hmm.
introduced into European culture later on as a way to make poor people feel more full when they were eating things. And also that the potato could be grown in this kind of environment as well. Um,
Mm-hmm.
but 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 it's not really that healthy. It's definitely not healthy to make chips out of them. Um, in general, there are a lot of other healthier alternatives. So yeah, people's diet here is not so good because I I, I think living in Slovakia, people have a more worldly perspective of things. I still think
Mm-hmm.
living here is people are still British culture. They see things only one way, and that can be both good and bad. Just a quick look out onto the beach, and yeah, I can see
Your
I can see
family.
my Yeah, I can see my kids swimming in the sea.
Mm-hmm.
There. There we are, my partner. I was swimming in the sea out there. See, that I encourage and I urge everybody to be future-minded and to think about what they're looking at every day.
Mm-hmm.
Like in my last flat in Bistrica, I had these motivational quotes, A4 and framed, and I placed them specifically in special places around the flat, places where when you walk into the flat, you see it straight away.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Or when I was working, it was on the wall behind my computer, so that I could see it when I was working, and I think it makes a difference in the back of people's heads. Just seeing the words, it's almost like it becomes part of your subconscious mind, and the posters on your children's wall are one of the most powerful things that exist within their world. What they see every day around about them. Chances are, if you've got tropical beaches and palm trees and exotic things, that they're going to subconsciously program themselves that that's what they need in life, and they're going to go out and, I don't know, maybe live in some tropical place, or maybe they'll adventure through the jungle, or I don't know, go on some backpacking holiday to Indonesia or something. But it matters. It makes a difference. Like when I was a kid, I had lots of military pictures on the wall of tanks and warships and aircraft, and I will let the psychoanalysts and the psychologists understand what all that was about. But it makes a difference if you can just get closer to that kind of environment and not be distracted by the noise, the people, the cars, the movement, the hustle and bustle of the city, the lights. Lights are very distracting. Yeah. Mobile phones, all those little things, right? There's this little messages. My partner is unhappy with me because I asked her to turn off all the notifications on her phone. Because I don't want to know. Bzz, bzz. I don't want to know. I don't care. I don't want to know. She's, oh, but I don't know when people like it. It's really not that important. I'm quite sure. They can wait. They can wait 5 or 10 minutes, right? They can wait. Yeah. So all those little distractions, little boxes that pop up on the computer, or just anything. You only can think straight when you get away from everything else around about. The shouting and cheering, the irrelevance and nonsense of cultural activities, the ice hockey and the football and the Olympics and the cycling, and then get focus and move forward. So I advise everybody to spend a period of time each year next to the sea. And the air, the environment, the water, and then to think about, you've been on holiday, right? You've been on holiday next to the sea.
Yeah.
You know that feeling. You know that feeling you get where if you can relax when you're on holiday, the feeling you get if you're next to the sea or by the pool and it's warm and you're like, you don't have to worry too much about the work stuff and whatever. Imagine you could have that feeling constantly or every day. And it seems impossible when you're in the middle of chaos of work, family, everything else that you have to do. Especially in the plan of life, where it's like, I do this and 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 this, and it never ends. Oh my gosh. But if you can get to a point where you could experience that every day, then you wouldn't need to go on holiday, because you'd be living that feeling. I'm not saying don't work. I'm just saying you could have a little bit of it every day, which I think is a nice thing to have. How do you get that? I have a crazy suggestion, which is the buy and rent related to where you live principle. Never own where you live. I'm not saying don't own property, right? Mm-hmm. Own property. But any property that you own which is not making money for you is not really a good investment. Now, we need to invest in a place for safety, security. It's a normal way of doing things, right? It's a normal way of doing things, whether people buy a flat or a house, or some people live in boats, or wherever, right? But anything that you invest a lot of energy, a lot of time, a lot of money into that doesn't bring you money or revenue back is a questionable investment. It's a questionable investment. I'm not saying good or bad. It's just you can ask a lot of questions about it. Yeah. If you can take what you own and use that as a way to generate money, then you can take that money and you can rent where you live. Now, if you rent where you live, you're not responsible for all of the things. You're only responsible for some of the things where you live. Mm-hmm. And you can change it if you want. Because, and it's not a bad thing, but a lot of people get, you get stuck in the habit of the property. Whereas it's nice to be there. It's comfortable to be there. It's safe. It's a secure place. It's home. But the world's a bigger place. So it's a very interesting principle. I've heard that it works for some people.
So, sorry, I lost you for, 20 seconds.
Okay. So it works for some people, and for others it doesn't. But it's an interesting principle that an investment that you put a lot of time and a lot of energy that's not and money into that's not creating revenue for you is a questionable. It doesn't mean a good or bad. It just means you can ask questions about it. It's a questionable investment. And for a lot of people, and it depends on stages people are at in their life. For people who can be more flexible, obviously it's easier. That usually means younger people. It's easier for younger people. But if you can take what you own and rent it to somebody else, and yourself rent a place where you live, you are, on one side you may be creating more problems for yourself. That's true. On the other side, you may be giving yourself more flexibility to have more experiences and to be in different places and to see different things. And I think for some people that's an interesting opportunity for them to explore. Because, and this was my idea, not originally mine, but I read about other people in business doing it, and it made sense to me, and something that I wanted to do for the last 2 or 3 years, which is be able to live in a place that I was renting from, knowing that I can still change it if I want to change it. And you can argue that the negative side of that is, or maybe you're not making a long-term investment and you're not going to have any property in the future. There's that possibility as well.